Right then guys, here I am for a spot of deja vu. Last year, just after I started my reverse grid series on F1 2003, I made a video about the pit stop glitches in that game and, by extension, why I didn't use the forecast weather option for that reverse grid series. In this video, I'll be explaining a pit stop glitch in F104 because it's different to the one on F1 2003, but almost equally as dumb. Since I'm making this video in reference to my own series, all the footage you're about to see is from the TV mode where you just watch races happen. However, this glitch exists and can be replicated beat for beat if you take part in the races yourself. Having said that, the simple solution to this glitch is to buy the platinum version of the game. I've only just got myself the platinum version which doesn't have the following glitch. So now I've finally got a fixed version of this game and I've made this video, I can start working on my F104 reverse grid series. Instead of going straight into the glitch, I want to show you how it can turn a perfectly normal Grand Prix into a complete farce. So I set up a 50% distance race, meaning there were going to be pit stops, and went off to Hockenheim for what should have been a normal race. Well, okay, sure, the starting grid was a reverse of the real life qualifying results, but I want to kill two birds with one stone. F104 isn't a great game to run a reverse grid series on, as you will soon see, but with the pit stop glitch in place, it borders on pointless. Well, certainly meaningless. It was also guaranteed to be a dry race, so weather changes had no impact on what you were about to witness. So the race started off with Nick Heidfeld passing Jean-Maria Bruni for second place, and that was pretty much it for the first lap. Yeah, I'm not joking, to the best of my knowledge, no other overtakes were pulled off inside of the points positions in the first lap. There was contact down at the hairpin, but that is all the first lap had to offer. There weren't any more overtakes for a short while, to be honest, but don't worry, the pit stop glitch soon changes that, which is why it's such a nuisance. Before that came into play though, there was a lot of wing-to-wing racing and some close calls, but no successful overtakes. That changed in the stadium section of the third lap, when Ralf Schumacher overtook the Jaguar of Mark Webber. Eventually something else happened when at the start of lap 10, Giorgio Pantano retired from 4th place with a blown up engine. That held up a couple of drivers, so Fisichella, who was a bit further back, was able to totally avoid the blown up Jordan and speed past the two other victims, including his teammate. This is something you should get used to. Cars slowing down and holding up other cars, allowing ones further back to easily make up positions. It's by far the biggest source of overtaking in this game. 13 laps into the race and the first glimmer of the pit stop glitch appears because I'm busy watching Fisichella fail to pass a Minardi when suddenly the whole top end of the field bunches up. The race leader Baumgartner slowed down for no reason, and this is exactly what the pit stop glitch is. So why did Baumgartner slow down? Well, it's because Klein went into the pits. Two seemingly irrelevant actions linked by the fact one almost always causes the other. Klein isn't even a Minardi driver, yet him slowing down for the pit lane caused the man in first to do the same. I remember hearing that the driver who slows down is the teammate of the one who pitted. And if that was the case, then in a weird way the glitch would be fair for everyone. But Mark Webber wasn't hampered at all by Klein entering the pits. So with only the race leader slowing down and the field getting bunched up, you'd expect some big changes. And there was. An overtake was made. Cristiano Di Matta passed Felipe Massa down into turn 4, but even with the cars closer together and in reverse performance order, that was the only overtake made on that lap. One lap later, Di Matta pitted and it didn't affect his teammate, nor lead to any overtakes despite Baumgartner being slowed down again. On the next lap, Fernando Alonso peeled off into the pits, and yet again Baumgartner slowed down. This time though, Heidfeld was able to get out of the way of the Minardi and take the race lead. Baumgartner lost 3 positions in total, and it would have been 4 or probably 5 at least had Massa not smacked into the back of him. Massa's retirement then caused more of the field to slow down and close up to one another, repeating exactly what caused Massa to retire in the first place, as some drivers were able to slow down in time or avoid the broken Sauber, but Coulthard couldn't, and he shunted Barrichello just as Barrichello was bearing left to avoid the smoking Sauber. It's a sheer miracle that the cycle didn't start again, as thankfully Coulthard's car rolled off to the side of the track. The wheel carried on but went to the other side of the tarmac, and that was the end of that. The next lap is where it becomes very difficult to track what the actual running order of the race is. Fisichella came into the pit, and with Heidfeld as the new race leader, he was the man to slow down. So exactly 1 lap after he took the race lead, Minardi took it back again. The thing is though is that Fisichella was by no means the only driver to pit then. Lots of other drivers had by this point, including Baumgartner, Raikkonen and Barrichello. On the next lap, Button came into the pits, but exactly who's pitted and in which positions the drivers who haven't pitted will end up in are near impossible questions to answer. All I can say with certainty is that the new race leader Bruni slowed down right on cue, and given that Heidfeld isn't in sight, he probably pitted as well. I say probably because you can't watch people in the pits, except on a replay, and even then only if you're following them before they drive onto the pit lane, hence all the guesswork and unanswerable questions. There are definitely 6 drivers who haven't pitted yet, as they're all in a group at the front, but even with Bruni leading it and Michael Schumacher in a Ferrari at the back of it, there were still no positional changes. Lap 18 and none of the front 6 decided to pit, but in 7th place is car 15 Christian Klien. He was the first driver to pit, and in doing so started off the bunching up and slowing down of the field, whilst being unaffected by it by either being in the pits or being too far back in the later laps, having made a stop already. And sure enough, after a flurry of foreshadowing for the 2005 American Grand Prix, with a 6-car race devoid of any overtaking, eventually all of the top 6 came into the pits as well. Takuma Sato was the first of that group to do so, and rather confusingly when he did it, it wasn't the race leader Bruni who slowed down. It was the likely effective race leader, but still only in 6th place man, Christian Klien. It took 19 whole laps before the race was led by a non-Minardi driver without it being caused by a glitch, as Bruni eventually pitted. Do you want to guess who slowed down when he pitted? It was Klien yet again. Sure, he's the leader of the drivers who have pitted, and Bruni couldn't have been affected as he was one of the 3 drivers, including Montoya and Michael Schumacher, pitting. But shouldn't Panis, the new race leader, get affected in place of Klien? Well, Panis got a greater punishment. His engine broke down seconds after Bruni entered the pits. Could well be a coincidence or proof that this glitch has a conscience. I don't know, because at this point nothing makes sense. So at this point both Jaguar drivers are 1st and 2nd. The difference is that Klien has pitted and Webber hasn't. On lap 23 Mark finally pitted, and that pretty much ends the race. Klien predictably slowed down whilst Webber was in the pits, and given what we've seen in this video, he was guaranteed to. He was the new race leader, the leader of those who pitted, and the teammate of the driver who was in the pits, so he had no hope of passing his curse on to someone else. Also on lap 23, a Williams driver finally overtook a Minardi heading into the stadium section. That's how little racing goes on in this game, that it took 23 laps for cars on opposite ends of the performance scale to swap positions. Barrichello never followed suit. A Ferrari never in this entire race overtook a Minardi on track under normal circumstances.
I can see the Williams mechanics out in the pit lane.
The race didn't even end in a normal way because Ralf Schumacher, who was in 7th and stuck behind Mark Webber, pitted on the final lap. He wasn't even the only one because Montoya also did it, and you can see Barrichello did it as well. So Ralf Schumacher gave 7th back to Baumgartner. Barrichello threw away the final points place and gave it to Kimi Räikkönen. Christian Klein won the 2004 German procession after being the first driver to pit. D'Amato was the second driver to pit and finished in 2nd. Fisichella was the 4th driver to pit, yet beat Fernando Alonso, who was the 3rd driver to pit. I assume the 1 lap undercut wasn't enough for Alonso to recover that big of a time gap. You've got to remember, with the reversed grids, Fisichella started in 7th and Alonso in 15th. God knows where they were when they pitted, but it would have been deeply impressive if Alonso beat his future teammate just by pitting 1 lap before him. And that's all I have to say about a race which was somehow simultaneously one of the weirdest and most boring I've ever seen. You'd think a weird race can't be a boring one, but I recorded for 1 hour and 17 minutes, and I can't exactly describe the experience of recording this, quote, race as fun. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and with this out of the way, I'll soon start working on the F104 Reverse Grid series on the Platinum version of this game. If you enjoyed the video, then please do leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.